With the holiday seasons approaching, we see more and more wreaths used in a lot of the decorations during this time. And today we're at Brock's Florist with Chris Brock, again here in Stillwater. And Chris is going to show us how to use some plant material from our yards that we can use to actually make these wreaths. And Chris, welcome back to Oklahoma Gardening.
Thank you.
And you've already started, what, a grapevine wreath?
A grapevine wreath.
Why don't you tell us how to get going on that?
Okay. What you'll do is you'll collect your grapevine canes, and then what I do is fill up my bathtub with hot water and give them a good soak for about an hour. Then we're going to take our first cane and wrap it around twice like this, and I've secured it right here with a piece of wire. Okay, and then we're going to take our other cane, the thick end, start with the thick end, and I'm just going to tuck that into there, into the grapevines, and then just like a needle and thread, I'm going to take this other cane, if I can't get caught on my tendrils here, and just wrap this around, making the wreath a little bit larger. Grab onto that again.
And putting it in the bathtub, Chris, that's just to soak it up to make it more pliable for you
Make
to
it
use, is
a little
that
bit
right?
more bendable where they don't break.
Okay.
Now to finish this off, this cane, I'm just going to take that, you heard that crack there. I'm going to take that and just tuck that in, and you'll see how it holds.
So the hardest part is just wrapping it around and then tucking it in. That's the key to it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And because you're dealing with such long canes, it's hard to get it going around. But once you get started, and then you'll just keep adding canes to this wreath to make it larger.
Well, while we're talking about wreaths, Chris, you've done some interesting things over here with the Christmas tree. Why don't you show us what you're doing there?
Well, this is a Christmas tree I'm doing for the Festival of the Trees, and I kind of wanted a natural emphasis to it. So I've got my lotus pods in it, and I've taken grapevines that also were soaked in water and just gone ahead and wrapped this around my tree.
Do you think soaking these would help in fire hazard too, maybe a little bit, soaking it with water?
A little bit. It makes them, they take about, I'd say about a week to dry out.
Okay.
If you give them a real good soak.
Okay. Well, you've used some other different materials for, you've got a candy cane, and this
Yes.
is what, grapevines
This
again?
is another candy cane grapevine that I've made. And I've just taken that and formed the candy cane, and then taken some wire. You could also take a piece of the cane and wrap that around. You don't have to use wire. This is just some baling wire.
But there's a lot of other things that people can use besides grapevines. What have we got here?
Okay, this is a chase plant, or vitex,
Uh-huh.
and it did have the nice purple flowers on it. And to secure this a little bit, I'm going to take that, anything dried like that, you'll take that and spray it with a little hairspray.
And that's to what, hold the berries on?
Hold the berries on.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And here's one that is actually dried out, but it's held its green color.
Yes, this is some winter jasmine, and I've started a wreath with this just the same way that I did the grapevine. But this does keep its nice green color. This is completely dried now too.
Now this one reminds me of a grapevine, but it's different and actually has a lot more thickness to it. doesn't it?
This is wisteria, which I think makes a beautiful wreath. It's kind of a paler color, like a whitewash look.
Right. And then you've got some things here in front too. What have we got here?
This is to show you just a little bit of different. This is weeping willow that I've collected, and I've made it exactly the same way, but these are a lot easier to make with because they're so green when you get the canes, and they can bend. You can see here I've made bows with it, and then I've taken a thinner piece of the weeping willow and wrapped that around to tie the bow onto the wreath. So actually there's no wire on this or anything.
Did you soak any of these?
No, I didn't soak these.
Just
These
the
were green.
grapevines.
I picked these green.
Okay.
And then this is a little heart that I've made. As soon as this dries, I'll go ahead and cut that piece of twig right there to hold that.
Well, one thing we might caution the viewers, when they're pruning a lot of things this time of year, it's a good time to do it as far as for the materials and the wreaths, but they may lose some of their blossoms on things like winter jasmine and wisteria because those blossoms have already set. So if you don't have a very big plant, you want to be careful because you would be sacrificing some of the blooms. So that's one thing we may want to caution you about. But there's a lot of wild things that will people can collect outside as well.
Yeah, wild grape and anything really that's got a small twig like this.
Well, now that we've got an idea of some of the different things, why don't we go over here, and you've got someone helping us today.
Yeah,
Becky.
this is Becky, my bookkeeper, and I was going to show you how easy this is for anybody to decorate one of these. I taught Becky this morning how to do this. This is a wreath where she's come in on this side and put our baby's breath down first. She's also incorporated some baby's breath through the ribbon here to make the ribbon actually look like it's a part of the wreath. And then here she's finished off with some candy tuft. Put little tufts of candy tuft in there, just like this.
And all of this is done by using a glue
gun, just
right?
a little drop of, just a tiny drop of glue on there. And then she's put some brown eucalyptus in there.
Okay.
So she's done a real good job.
Great. Well, I noticed here we were talking about how to get different projects for kids to get involved in, and you've done the same thing here with the wreath.
This is some dried willow, and it's the real thin strands, and we've made this the same way, wrapped it around quite a few times around their little hand like that, and then they can take this and wrap the piece to hold it all together.
Okay, so you can get your kids involved in some of the projects and gifts as well. Well, let's look at some of the finished products over here then you've got on the wall.
This is our wisteria that we've finished, and we've done it just the same way Becky did the wreath here. We've put our baby's breath out here and put in some lotus pods and some silk greenery. Then we've got another wisteria, which is my favorite, and I've made a heart with the wisteria, wrapped it with some of the raffia ribbon, put a little heart in there, and then I've just put a whole bunch of baby's breath around the bow, just to make it real pretty. And then this is our finished product, our grapevine. You can see how this is completely dried now. This is another different way to do a grapevine, is to take it and wrap quite a few times, about 15 times around, and then secure it with one cane. So it's a little bit different than the one I did.
How much would a homeowner have to collect to make one that size? How many different? Quite a bit. I mean, we're talking.
No, this would probably be about 5 canes.
5 canes.
So not very much at all. It doesn't take very much. I went out yesterday and collected probably about 20 canes, and I've made 4 wreaths with it.
Now let's talk about cost too. If they're able to collect the material in their own yard, that's quite a savings. What about some of the other things you're adding?
A wreath like this would probably cost about $6 to make. I put in the main cost of this is the pink heather that I've used a little bit more candy tuft and a few silk blossoms. And this is a raffia bow, which I think has a nice woody look to it, country look to it.
Well, Chris, wouldn't a wreath like that in a florist shop or a gift shop run, what, 30, 40, sometimes $50
yes.
even with
And
it?
in New York, as a matter of fact, these are even into the hundreds, a wreath like this.
Well, and you've got an unusual wreath down here too, I guess.
I had a customer, all my upstairs is kind of rustic looking, western looking, and I told him I wanted a barbed wire wreath, and he came back with this. So anything that's bendable can be made into a
So
wreath.
they can use their imagination pretty much. Well, Chris, you've given us some good ideas about different kinds of plant material, and you've brought Becky along to show us how easy it is to do, and it's really pretty cost efficient too. So hopefully the viewers will get some ideas for wreaths to make, not only for Christmas, but they can use these in Valentine's Day, Easter, just about any holiday, and I guess interchange them even possibly. Thanks again, Chris.
Sure.
We're glad to have you back.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.